Hey, happy Friday. It's almost the end of the year, which means there's not a whole lot of big tech news that happened last week, but we're going to go over the quick headlines in the beginning of this video, and then we'll move on to our predictions game. This is like a year-end tradition by now. I did 2 of these in the past already. So this time we're going to be predicting what might happen in 2023, and then also in the years after that. It's going to be fun. Welcome to the 2022 checkout. Okay, first the brief. Google management declared a code red after the release of ChatGPT from rival OpenAI and reassigned people to its AI products and prototypes from now until Google's I/O conference in May, where I guess it really wants to show that it can actually be a leader in AI and not just be surprised by ChatGPT. Don't forget that Google's unreleased AI called Lambda caused a Google engineer to claim that it was sentient earlier this year, so maybe they're not that far behind. Fun. Also this week, the grim economics of smartphones got a little more clear, with Xiaomi laying off 10% of its global staff and as many as 15% within its smartphone and internet services business. Ouch. Then Counterpoint data told us what is going on in smartphones. Basically, the smartphone market saw shipments falling 12% for the quarter versus a year ago, with the industry scraping some of that back via average selling prices actually rising 10%. But the details are actually bad for pretty much everyone except for Apple. Samsung's overall revenue fell 4% year over year. Oppo's, who also includes OnePlus, fell 27% over the same period, which is insane. And then Vivo fell by 43%. Oof. Only Xiaomi managed anything remotely good, with sales lifting 4%, but its share of premium smartphones actually fell, so that's kind of a wash. And of course then there's Apple, who's just doing great while everyone else is suffering. Oh well. And talking of bad news for the tech industry, Intel's big plan to build a new fab in Germany is apparently now indefinitely delayed as well, as it's supposedly going to cost more than expected. Intel wants a lot more billions in subsidies, and the chip boom-bust cycle is basically now at a bust, so they're kind of scaling back. Okay, so that's it for the brief, and now let's move on to my predictions. And as always, I like to make wild predictions, so I guess I'll be wrong about most of these, but use these as a kind of thought experiment to think about what could happen in the future. Let's start with the first one. Okay, my first prediction of the year is that when Apple finally comes out with their AR glasses at the end of next year, which is more or less when most analysts expect them to come out with them, they're going to be an absolute smash hit. They're going to kickstart the AR revolution. It might take, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years to really come into their full force, but it's going to happen, and Apple is going to steamroll this entire industry, because I think you need 3 main things to be successful with AR glasses. 1, they're on your face, they have to be fashionable, and they have to be branded in a way that people will want to wear them. And I think Apple as a brand has been incredibly successful. Think of the AirPods, think of the Apple Watch, etc. People will want to be seen in Apple glasses much more than they'll want to be seen in Realme glasses, for example. 2, miniaturization. You want small batteries, light, compact, everything. You need a very strong chip for that. Apple has some of, if not the best chip designers in the industry, so that's a huge benefit for them. And 3, they're glasses with cameras on top of your face. You really want to trust the brand that creates them, and whether this is deserved or not is up to you to decide, but I think most people trust Apple to respect their privacy and to not bombard them with ads all the time, etc. So I think these are the 3 key factors. I think nobody else has a stronger situation than Apple, so I think they're gonna win. Okay, and my second prediction of the year is that Intel is going to become a sort of Boeing of the United States. If you don't know, Boeing, of course, is the company that makes airplanes, but on top of that, it is also a national champion of the United States, that the government has decided it is so important that this company is competitive and commercially successful, that they're willing to do almost anything to make sure that Boeing wins and is always on top, whether that means going to war or spying even on allies like Airbus. Basically anything is okay, because Boeing needs to win for the US to be strong power, I suppose. And I think the same will happen with the whole chip industry and the chip supply chain, and especially chip manufacturing. And Intel is the only US company that has even a chance at being, I guess, a Boeing of the chip industry for the US. So they're going to be making sure that Intel wins whatever it takes, whether it means pumping an incredible amount of money into it, whether it means stealing trade secrets, pressuring companies like Apple and AMD and whoever to have their stuff made by Intel. It doesn't matter what it is, they're going to make it happen. And I think long term, being on the right side of politics matters just as much as being very competitive as a business or having very competitive technologies. And Intel is incredibly well set up for that. And so I think they're going to be coming out very victoriously at the end of this. Okay, my next prediction is that very soon Elon Musk is going to be selling Twitter. I don't think it's a secret that financially this acquisition was an absolute disaster. Obviously, the company itself has been not profitable even before he bought it, and that has only gotten worse according to his own claims since. The guy has over $1 billion in interest payments on the loans that he took on the deal itself. And his other companies like Tesla have lost massive value since he bought the companies. I think they're down like 60%, 2/3 since their peaks. So financially, this was just an absolute disaster for him so far. I don't see any significant light at the end of the tunnel. He might step down and appoint another CEO or whatever, but eventually he's just going to realize that Twitter is such a financial drag on him, both directly with the, I don't know, $1, $2, $3 billion that he's paying for it every year just to keep it alive, and also for his other companies, for the stock prices and everything. It's such a financial drag that he's just going to get out of it, sell it to, I don't know, Verizon, just like Tumblr did, for like $1 billion, get out, write it off, claim it was somehow caused by the liberal media and the whoever's played a blame game, and then just move on. That's my guess. Oh, and by the way, I used to be on Twitter a lot. I'm now more and more on Mastodon, so if you want to check me out there, link is down in the description. Okay, my next guess is that TikTok's good days are over. I think both Instagram and YouTube have very successfully copied their format. Both Shorts and Reels are extremely popular and successful, which means that it no longer competes on its own. Reels and Shorts are both growing very fast. Shorts just announced that they're going to be doing monetization for creators who are releasing Shorts, which is a huge differentiator. I might actually do Shorts if that finally happens in February. I might do like a Monday checkout and a Wednesday checkout in a short format here, at least to experiment, who knows. But yeah, so I think on a product level, it's quite competitive for TikTok, and the growth has actually stalled significantly. And on the other side also, it's politically getting very difficult for them. We're just in a kind of Cold War phase, and decoupling of all of our economies and internet and technologies everywhere around the world. TikTok is the most obvious, most visible platform from China. I think eventually the US is going to put up some kind of bans on them. They're already having some trouble with their partners in the US anyway, so I think it's just a matter of time before this somehow gets regulated away. And if you lose the US, they've already mostly lost India. At that point, it just becomes like a not global social media platform, which feels very weird. So I think it's mostly just going to retreat to being a regional platform and maybe primarily a Chinese platform. Okay, and my last prediction is going to be about Meta actually doing fine. I think a few things happened that make me think that. One, the whole Twitter and Elon drama is suddenly somehow making Meta look very reasonable. Like Elon is making Zuckerberg look like some well-composed, reasonable social media executive, and Facebook seems so tame in comparison to whatever is happening to Twitter. So like, the Twitter drama is taking a lot of energy and focus away from the Meta companies. That's one thing. Great for them. Second, I think TikTok kind of fading into the background is going to be a huge boon, especially for Instagram. A lot of people were worried that TikTok is just going to crush everything in its wake. I don't think it's going to happen. So I think that's going to bounce back significantly. And I think Meta, because of their shareholder structure, if you don't know, essentially Zuckerberg cannot be fired. So he can do something that other CEOs like Tim Cook couldn't, which is that he can just like finance a moonshot project like AR and VR for 10 years if he wants to, and then stand there at the end. Even though they lost a lot of money on the way, he's going to be one of the only companies who will have like a very compelling platform at the end, other than Apple, of course. And so I'm fairly positive about their outlook. It's obviously not my favorite company by a very large margin, but I think Meta is actually going to do just fine. All right, I love predictions. I think they're a great exercise for the brain. They force us to zoom out and look at things and consider them in a way that we haven't considered them before. And I guess in that way, they're not all too different from classes over at Brilliant. Brilliant is an online platform that helps you get better at math, science, engineering, and even computer science, and they are a great activity over the holidays especially, where you can finally take some time for yourself and brush up on your skills. Their courses cover everything from beginner to advanced levels, and whether you just want to exercise your brain or actually progress in your career, they have just the right system for either. Courses are all designed to be extremely interactive. Each big concept that they cover is broken down into smaller chunks that build up into a complete picture, and each one is then practiced right away with an exercise to make sure that the learnings actually stick. Courses include anything from simple algebra to quantum computing and machine learning, and they're designed by professionals from institutions like Microsoft, Google, MIT, and more, so you know that they actually work. You can try Brilliant for free at brilliant.org/TFC, and the first 200 people who sign up using my link will also get 20% off their annual premium subscription. So check it out, happy learning, and I'll see you, hopefully, next Friday.